All right, we're recording?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, everyone, to the Rink Rat Report podcast playoff edition, joined by Josh and Jason, who are Josh and Jason. Who was the one drinking tonight? Holy hell. Who are fresh out of Scotiabank Arena and can tell us a little bit about what was going on there.
The clap is not for your failure to pronounce our names, but it's for that effort from the Leafs.
Yes.
What a game. What a
my
fantastic start to the NHL playoffs, the best time of the year. Joe, it's great to be here with you. Jason, great to be here with you as well. What a start.
I can't remember a Leafs first playoff game.
No. Maybe,
Yeah, even-
I don't want to say any, but in the last
In the
5-10 years.
yeah, well, in our last 6 or whatever, is this the 6th year now, 7th year, whatever. In the last,
I'd go as far as like 18, 19, 20 years.
yeah,
I
honestly,
didn't want to be aggressive with it, but yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
I'm pretty sure this was the first game one we've won. I know for a fact since sorry,
Maybe Boston game.
it was there was
Boston.
one Boston game one.
The second Boston series they won, and that
Yeah.
was the first time since like 2004 or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
even earlier.
That was the last
2003.
time Mitch Marner scored a goal, I think, in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
2004.
Trends.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot to get into this one. This is quite an interesting 5-0 pummeling by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, not start to finish. I'd say about halfway through the first period. After the Clifford penalty until the final blow of the whistle, the Toronto Maple Leafs completely dominated the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh yeah, all Leafs from that point on. It was, and you could feel it also in the beginning, right before that penalty. Like everyone was nervous in the building, even the players. It almost felt like they were a little nervous too. And then, who would have thought that a 5-minute major is kind of what swings the momentum in your favor? But
I know. A 5-minute major, like, against your team.
yeah, and a suspension,
Yep.
and you're already a man down less than 5 minutes into the game, and
We do have breaking news, though. That Kyle Clifford's hit on Ross Colton has earned Nazem Kadri a suspension. Something about 43 in blue and white, eh, boys?
Oh,
That was a bit of a dirty hit, though.
yeah,
That was quite a dirty
That
hit.
was a
right
dirty
in the
hit.
numbers, right against the boards. I mean, kudos to Clifford. Like, he came out hot. He threw the body on Ruda and then came out and tried to finish a hit on Ross Colton and just didn't, made it kind of a dumb decision.
Yeah.
And but it didn't cost the Leafs at all, right? Like, I think the Leafs outchanced the Lightning on that penalty for sure. I don't know about overall in this game, but I'd be very curious to look that up if, like, the chances numbers were what that was for the Leafs on the penalty kill this game, because that penalty kill was incredible. Let's get into a quickly recap this one. Do you want to start with the goals?
yeah. Let's run through.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goal number
1,
Jake
Jake Muzzin.
Muzzin.
Great
Yeah, right.
forecheck by
Coming off of a power play where we didn't score.
great forecheck by Mikheyev and Kasha.
Yeah.
And I think it was Mikheyev that provided the screen in front of the net. I don't think Vasilevsky had a great view of it, but also Muzzin with a really hard and on net shot, and it found its way through.
I was kind of surprised he shot that. Like, usually you want to set up, like, there was a lot of traffic going through there. I thought he was going to pass that off because the right side of the ice was kind of open there. He took that shot through traffic. It went through, and Vasilevsky didn't see it. But as you mentioned there, that's not Jan Ruta or some plug seventh defenseman coughing it up there. That was Hedman and Cernak that gave up that puck.
Yeah. Biz on Twitter was saying Hedman had cement feet tonight. I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, but they definitely didn't make it easy on him, and that's example number 1. It's a little bit of a hard forecheck.
There was another Tampa defenseman that had cement between his ears tonight.
Who's that? Sergachev? The rat?
Sergachev.
Jason did not let him have a second on the ice without, you're a rat, Sergachev, you're a rat. But that's because, if you remember the first game that they played against Tampa this year, he did get kicked out of the – I don't know if he got kicked out of the game, but he got suspended. And he got suspended for like a relatively dirty hit to the head on Mitch Marner. And, from then on. But Sergachev's always been like that. There's a lot of guys on Tampa that have – I don't even want to call it bite because it's not even bite.
No,
they're a bit pissy.
Yeah, I was about to say it's the Mark Spector. Why are you so pissy?
No, it's Jim Matheson.
Sorry, Jim Matheson.
That's what Kucherov, like, he took a terrible penalty on Brody.
Yeah,
just cross-checked him in the back for no reason. That was
brutal.
weird.
And then what set up, I guess, So our second goal that we have here, correct? What set up that goal was the Leafs were on the power play, and Marner's on the ice. Jan Ruta just decides to cross-check him several times in the back.
Yeah.
Right in front of the ref, too. Like, the refs were calling penalties tonight. Like, they were...
And that, I think, will, in the long run, favor teams like the Leafs or Edmonton, which we're watching the game right now, where they're getting a couple power plays, or Florida, where these higher-skilled teams, not that Tampa's not a high-skilled team, they are, but we've seen in the past the lack of penalty calls by the refs in the playoffs really evens the playing field.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen teams like Montreal make runs and Dallas, and I'm not saying that's all because of the refs, but I wonder if this is an example of the refs is it a statement on night one and it tails off, or is this going to be a playoffs referee like the regular season, which would be surprising. But like you said, Jan Ruta gives Marner 4 or 5 cross checks to the back of the head, back of the neck while he's on the ice. It's a 5-on-3, and Sheldon Keefe made a good decision that
make that time out. But I did want to mention, Gary Bettman probably saw Ben Sherratt go for a first-round pick and more and went, okay, we need to change something.
yeah, we got to
what is going on? And then Mark Giordano only went for a second. He's like, okay, no, enough's enough. Please call the penalty, the rule book. Which is funny because he said last year in the playoffs he gave an interview.
Oh, yeah, with Ron McLean.
He was like, yeah, our refs are fantastic.
They're doing fantastic.
What are you talking about? They're fantastic.
And that was
but now it's all changed?
I know. I think a lot of people were surprised by it, the penalty calls.
I was very surprised. Like, once they started calling hook and hold and interference, everything. Like, some of the penalty, like the Lobushkin one, like, in what season are they calling that?
That's not even a regular season penalty.
No, that was a bad one. That the Blushkin one and the Ilya Mikheyev one, which happened a little earlier than that. Those were two like brutal calls, I thought. Yeah. But you know what? We persevered through it. We
persevered. We showed the passion that unites us all. So that second goal. So Sheldon Keefe calls a timeout. Fantastic decision by him. And then you had an interesting point.
Yeah, Jason, I want you to recount what I turned and said to you.
They're going to go low to high.
Yeah, so when you saw them do 5 forwards, which was I thought that was a great call by Keefe because the Leafs have not been over. You don't get that many 5-on-3 opportunities, but they've kind of squandered a couple this year. And the trend that I found was they kept going to Riley back and forth on the top of the umbrella, and that's just not high danger areas. Mm-hmm. And when I saw them put 5 forwards, I thought, you know what? They're going to try to work it from low to high instead. Mm-hmm. And that just opens up so many things. Joe was making a great point about what it does to the goalie, right? Mm-hmm. What is that like? It's hard when the pucks come from behind the net.
Yes, because when it goes from, say, the top of the circles to the other top of the circles, like, it is a good distance that it has to be traveled, but you don't have to turn your body that much. And, like, think about it. Like, when you have to turn your entire body, especially when you're wearing equipment, as you can see, my voice trailed off there because I was doing the action, but when you have to turn your entire body there, like, it takes that little bit extra time to then get set there. And on top of that, it depends on where the player gets the puck to, where, like, the goalie has to come from deep in his crease because he's against the post to the top of his crease. And depending on where they get the puck is where you have to stop and get set. And, like, it could catch you in a deep kind of area, right? You're not going to be going from top of the crease to over, like, through the crease, top of the crease again, right? It could make that a little bit more difficult for the goalie there. And Austin Matthews just hammered.
Yeah. And I think Vasilevsky was, I don't want to say fully set, but he did a pretty good job of getting his head around to get square to the puck. But Matthews just triggered that puck so hard. And he was coming downhill already, too, so he had the momentum with it as well. It was a great shot. It wasn't placed perfectly by any means necessary, but it was a great shot, and it beat Vasilevsky. And then that's when you start to feel the momentum change in the game. I think, like we talked about, the biggest momentum change was killing that 5-minute on Clifford. That was like, once they did that, and they had more they had more chances than Tampa did on that 5-minute. The scoring chance in the first period when the Leafs were at 4-on-5 were 3 for the Leafs, 1 for Tampa. So they actually did outchance Tampa, which is crazy. But we saw that all year. Dean Chenoweth, what a stud, assistant coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs, who has completely revamped our penalty kill. And it's Marner, it's Kampf, it's Kasha this game, Engvall, Kerfoot, Mikheyev. Like, these guys are all chipped. And the D, Giordano had a great night on the penalty kill. Like, it was such a good PK performance. They need to, if they can keep carrying that on in the coming games, it'll really help their chances to win.
Neutralizing that Tampa Bay power play is
massive.
huge.
We
It's
talked
huge.
about it you guys made the point last podcast. We'd watch the Leafs power play, which sucked in the playoffs last year, and you'd watch Tampa with the movement and using the bumper and the low to high plays. It was like a different game was being played, and if you can neutralize that power play, that's a huge, huge game changer in a series.
Yeah, one big thing I noticed was that they were doing a really good job. Like the Leafs were doing a really good job of holding it felt like the blue line on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of jumping
struggling
around here, but you could just tell that the Tampa Bay Lightning players were just very frustrated when they're on the power play, which is not something you see very often with that team, especially. So.
Yeah, you got so many talented players there trying to break in the puck, and they just couldn't. The Leafs were holding their own very well there. But yeah, not only that, they were like the Tampa Bay also couldn't break the puck out against the Leafs.
Yeah,
No, they
tonight
couldn't.
at all. But let's get into the third goal there. So on the penalty kill,
oh yeah,
which now should be called the power kill because it was that good tonight. Mitch Marner sends it to the point. Victor Hedman misplays it at the point. The puck gets behind him, and Big Daddy David Kampf goes in on a breakaway and buries one on Vasilevsky under the arm.
beats him clean.
When you break it down really, really slowly, it looks like Vasilevsky thought it was like he didn't quite react right away. I think he thought it was going 5-hole, and then David Kampf just slides it right underneath his arm. Josh doesn't think he meant to put it there. I kind of think he did. I mean,
It doesn't matter though.
it wasn't the greatest deception on it, but a goal's a goal, and he was fired up, and that kind of broke open the game there, I think.
Yeah.
I'll say this. If you told us when they signed Camp, get rid of the whole season where he was a fantastic shutdown center for us, that he would score a breakaway by beating Victor Hedman in Game 1 against Tampa in the Stanley Cup, you would just take the signing right there. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't have to do anything else. And this guy, he played all 82 games this year. An absolute consistent presence in our lineup, and he shines through again. That was his third shorthanded goal of the year. I know playoffs is different, but he had 2 in the regular season, third overall. Like, he is Jason. Go ahead. Like, I don't know what you want to say.
He led forwards in ice time tonight. I'm serious. 1928. He had 1928 tonight, and obviously a little bit of that is because they were winning towards the end. And you're going to throw him out, and there was a ton of penalty kill where he was playing.
A lot of penalty kill.
And he was a stud. He was a stud the entire night through and through. Won the goal, the expected goals battle, won the Corsi battle. Like, he was doing everything. He's just past couple of games before the season ended. It felt like he just started reaching his stride. He looked so much faster. He looks so great skating out there, and just happy for what he's done for us this year. Honestly,
You've got Natural Stat Trick open.
yeah.
I was going to say, who do you think led the Leafs forwards in ice time at 5-on-5?
Like Kerfoot, Engvall, Mikheyev, one of those three.
It was Pierre Engvall at
Yeah.
12:45.
They actually did a good job managing the minutes after they went up big, which was good. Because
Engvall played a full minute more than the next highest guy, which
I
was
saw
Kampf.
that somehow Mitch Marner only played 5 minutes at 5-on-5, which is crazy.
That's
but if you think
insane.
about it,
5:31.
but he played like 4 minutes of penalty kill in the first period.
Yeah.
It was insane.
So you had to manage him. So he played.
That's crazy.
Mitch Marner played. I want to make sure this is correct. 4:55 on the penalty kill tonight, and 5:31 at 5-on-5.
Yeah. It was wild.
That's incredible. There.
He was.
Let's get into his goal.
It was a nice goal. That was goal number 4.
Yeah, he had a couple of good steals in the first period. I thought
Yeah.
this is okay. Like, it wasn't like terrific chances, but this
He
is
did
a very
have
good
one
start.
chance in front
Yes,
where he
did.
had that backhand that just went wide.
Oh, my
that was a good
gosh.
chance.
He had 2 takeaways like right away. I think it was both on Sergachev there. Unfortunately, the next play after that, I don't know, he turned it over. But the 2 good takeaways I thought was a very positive step forward. And then his goal, I mean, Fat Pat Maroon had his rhinoceros-sized ass in front of Vasilevsky. He couldn't see. And then Kerfoot was in there as well. Vasilevsky slid just straight out of the net. Mitch Marner waited, and slid it into the open net there. How many times last year against Carey Price did Mitch Marner wait, and then just still had nothing against Price? And then his only one of his only primary assists, he waited. Price had him so beat. Like, Price had Mitch Marner beat because there was nothing to shoot at. Then Marner just shot it from behind the net, and then it ended up tipping off of Hyman and in. Like, just so it felt so good to see Mitch Marner just slide it into that empty net. I don't even think a weight was lifted off him there because the Leafs were playing so well that it was like that must have been a weight lifted off just the team's success itself because he was playing well as well. Mm-hmm. So an awesome play. What was it? It was on that play. Morgan Riley on that one too. Do you guys remember that one?
He made a nice pass.
That was a great play
really
by Morgan Riley too.
Good little peek back and.
So
did he
Morgan
drop it?
Riley,
I can't remember exactly.
So it went from center of the ice. Matthews backhanded it over to the left wing, and Morgan Riley was charging down like we've seen him do a lot of times before, and just made a really good pass to a wide open Marner, and Vasilevsky couldn't see, and he slid straight out of the net.
Yeah, that was wild. Honestly, it looked kind of weird when you watch it back, but he really couldn't see anything.
Hell yeah. I mean, and after that 8-1 romping where Pat Maroon had to say, I have 3 rings, nothing makes me happier than to see Fat Pat's frickin' ass in Vasilevsky's nose on that Mitch Marner wide open goal. As you can tell, I'm a little frustrated with that guy.
Yeah.
He does hockey, not school. Yeah. Those are his words, not mine.
Yeah, that was an interesting game for their fourth line, to say the least. But, yeah, that was a great fourth goal for the Leafs. And then
the fifth goal.
The fifth goal, which was just, wild.
Quickly, like the fifth goal, and for anyone who didn't see, sorry, I'll just break it down quickly. We dumped the puck in, bounced off the backboards, and popped out, and Austin Matthews had an empty net and just scored on the empty net.
Yep.
Vasky tried to play it, and he fumbled I don't know if he fumbled it, couldn't get his stick on it.
It bounced over his stick. Mm-hmm. It was a good bounce off the end boards after it bounced there, and Matthews was charging in. He just put it into an empty net.
And with that, Matthews doubled his goal total from last year's playoffs.
I feel like last 2 years, like in the playoffs and the play-in, like we were itching for a bounce like that, and we could not buy one if we wanted to. And it's crazy it came in a game like this of all things, and we finally we got a bounce. It felt good.
I know. How crazy is that when you break it down? Mm-hmm. The Leafs are playing Columbus, and then they play Montreal. The Leafs did not score any goals like that.
No
kind
greasy,
of thing.
bouncy like goals. It was
maybe in Game 2 or whatever when they beat Montreal 5-1. Maybe I don't even think then. But then you're playing the defending back-to-back Cup champions. And you get a shitty little bounce in a 4-0 game, and your top goal scorer just puts it into the empty net. I don't know. This game is stupid. That's all we can really summarize.
Well, I said to Jason, I think Matthews played good tonight, but I think he probably played better in 3 or 4 games against Montreal than he did tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And he had 2 goals tonight. It's just, we talked about in the playoffs last year, like nobody, and everyone says, I don't want to hear about the expected goals. I want to hear about the goals, which is fair. It's a short series, but then again, sometimes you just do get a little lucky or unlucky. It depends. And that goal is a perfect example of, Austin Matthews has scored many more spectacular goals than that in his career, but sometimes you get the bounce and you get the goal. And he's in the right place at the right time, and we'll take it.
How crazy is it, like, just looking at it, Austin Matthews, his Corsi percentage was 35.71. 5 Corsi for, and 9 Corsi against, which is shot attempts. So that could be, like, shots on goal, missed shots, or blocked shots. So the majority of shots that went for were 5 shots. Yeah. Anyways, 5 for, 9 against. Yes. 35.7%. His shots for and shots against were even at 4 and 4, and then goals for 2-0, and expected goals 67.62 for. So to break that all down, there were some good blocks had on the when he was on the ice. The shots that he attempted went through to the net, and they were in very good areas. Mm-hmm. And he only played 746. Yeah, at 5-on-5. So, I don't know.
That wasn't a crazy 5-on-5 game for him, right? I guess he probably go back and look at the numbers against Montreal. I bet he's had many more dominant puck possession and shot generation games. But it's good to get hot and start scoring at the right time. And when the pucks start going in, it's good for us. And, those two guys getting
Feels
3
good.
points in the first game, don't underestimate what that could do for their confidence and their mojo and the momentum. And another guy we haven't even talked about yet is we talked about all the goals that we've scored, but how about the goalie in the net? And when you talk about confidence and
It was solid.
having getting a shutout game 1 against Tampa.
Hell yeah. The Leafs made it, I want to say relatively easy for him. Yeah, I'd say it was a 2.29 expected goals against. So
It's a good
it was an all right. He had a solid game. No rebounds. There was nothing really there for him. I mean, Tampa Bay didn't capitalize. They had a couple good looks, but it flubbed off of their stick there. But I think Jack Campbell was solid there. I mean, can't complain. There's absolutely nothing to complain about there from Jack Campbell. I thought he was solid game. Not bad. Right?
Yeah.
The Leafs played very well defensively in front of him too.
I thought
that
he really
can't be underestimated.
Yeah, I thought he really held his own there in the second period when I think Tampa Bay had majority. I think
Yeah,
they had 12
In all
shots against
situations,
in 24 in all situations, 12 on the power play.
Yeah.
So he really held his own there in the second period when we were only up 1-0, 2-0,
Mm-hmm.
and that really helped us out because that second period was wild with all the penalties going back and forth. It must have been tough for him.
Timely saves.
Yeah. He made a couple good
No
ones
other way
too.
to put it. Made the timely saves.
And again, don't underestimate what this does for his confidence, right? He started so hot to the year. We know how his year's gone. Made the All-Star game, and then it just kind of started to trail. Rib injury, missed a couple games, and they've really eased him back into action, right?
Yeah.
He's hasn't been a real heavy workload, but he's played enough games to be full speed for playoffs, and
yeah.
we know he's a guy who can run really hot. So this game would be great if they can get Jack Campbell running really hot. It's good things for the Leafs.
Speaking of confidence, too, another guy who I thought didn't get on the score sheet tonight, but I thought had a pretty good game overall was William Nylander. He looked pretty. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, he had that chance off the rush. It was like the Leafs' first shot off the game. He had that chance where he made the block on Cernak, and then he went to go make the block. I think it was on Ruda or something. He went through the guy's stick, and he sent the player sent it in, and then he just kept going and was able to get a breakaway pass there. And Vasilevsky made a good save on him, I thought. But a couple other chances. I mean, I don't think really played much after. Just the rest of the Leafs team.
He was bottom 3 forward 4 minutes along with Matthews and Marner in 5-on-5.
He had the reverse of last year's playoffs where everything was going in for him last year. I thought, again, he had a really good game. Probably better than some of the games against Montreal where he scored.
Yeah.
But the puck just didn't go in for him. Like you said, that first rush of the game was great. Had a really high danger shot in that situation. His breakaway was good.
Drew a penalty. Drew a penalty.
On another, I would call that a partial break.
Yeah.
So I thought he had a really, really good game. I don't want to say disappointing, but I didn't really notice Tavares that much in some high danger areas, getting pucks in front of the net like he usually does. He was effective enough on the power play, but I think that'll be a question for me next game because that line was often matched up against Point and Cirelli, which I don't think is a great matchup for them.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. It's not again. I think they played great, 10 out of 10 effort tonight. But as we start looking to the next game, some possible battles that can happen, coaching wise. So
yeah. And then the winger on that line is Nick Paul, right? Cirelli.
No,
it's Hagel.
Hagel.
It's Brandon Hagel.
Cirelli,
I think that could be a decent matchup for them. I mean, you got Mikheyev and Kasha on there. You got some good speed. You got some good length in Ilya Mikheyev there. I felt like the chip and chase game for them was really working. Like, who on that line is really winning those puck battles against Tavares and Mikheyev? Those are two pretty good guys on the puck battles, right?
Yeah. I just think even in some situations, the pure foot speed of those two guys against the Tavares can be
the
ugly,
wingers definitely need to support him there.
Yeah. But also I'm looking at again, it's really hard to gather from this game because there was a lot of line juggling, penalty kill, power play, but they moved Hagel and Killorn back and forth on that line with Cirelli and Point. So I'm curious to see how that is next game. I assume there will be far fewer penalties in the next game than this game.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's really, even Sheldon Keefe said it's kind of hard to analyze like the tactics of this game.
Yeah,
Because there was more special teams minutes than 5-on-5 minutes, which is quite rare, especially for the playoffs. But as we haven't talked about speaking of matchups, our D-court tonight. And is that a good thing that we haven't mentioned any of our defensemen tonight? Because
because I thought, like, who didn't play well?
I thought they all played well.
I thought they all. I mean, Timothy Liljegren, I think for him, that's his first NHL playoff game. NHL because he has a Calder Cup under his belt. I mean, his first NHL game there, he was solid. He almost had that goal. I think he had a couple flubs, but he recovered instantly, was able to create a takeaway off of that. I mean, the rushes against, he was using his body. He was separating man from puck. I thought he had a tremendous game tonight. And his matchup being, who we got here? Ross Colton, Nick Paul, Alex Killorn being the top forwards. He performed pretty well against them.
I agree.
Yeah, he looked good out there tonight. I thought the first period he was he seemed a little shaky. He got rocked early on in the first period, but I thought he recovered very, very well, and he seemed to play like
he had a good block on the penalty kill, because if you remember, the first penalty was against TJ Brody, who is the primary penalty killer for the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? And so him having to go in and early in a game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, having to take that penalty kill and performing the way he did, I thought that was massive for him.
Yeah,
for the Leafs.
Yeah,
not just for him.
He did. Yeah, I thought he played really well that game. I was happy, honestly, with all the defensemen, even Jake Muzzin.
Yeah, Lyubushkin too. Lyubushkin was the one I had the.
Well, Jake Muzzin, to be fair, was a big question mark for us going into the series, because you never really know what the health is at. Like, we didn't really see He's
not 100%.
We didn't see him at 100% in the season at all leading up to the game, and he looked a little hurt, but he didn't see like that. That wasn't coming through at all on the ice when I was watching.
2 episodes ago was where we found the video where he's hunched over. He couldn't even practice, and then tonight he was throwing the body. He had that huge first goal for the Leafs there. The big one for me was Lyubushkin. I didn't know what to expect from him. He's very inconsistent on his breakout passes. I had a full episode where I talked about how bad he was. One week he was just horrendous. Didn't know what to expect from him there. I thought he was solid tonight. I had a couple flubs, but on those flubs he recovered and got the puck back. So no harm, no foul, I thought. And then he was mixing it up physically too. So just everything you wanted.
Credited for 3 hits tonight. Felt like he maybe had a couple more, but that's standard for him. He's always throwing the body. I thought he was really solid as well. I agree. There's a couple flubs in there, and as long as we can recover, he's good.
Yeah,
and he's a guy I don't think they like playing against him when he's on the ice.
No, he doesn't seem like a guy who's fun to play against if you're the other team. And even
I gotta mention, because we have the game on, Edmonton versus LA Kings. Jay Woodcroft looks like he dyes his hair. With WD-30 or Flex Seal.
He looks nothing like a hockey coach. No offense to him. That may be good because he's doing such a good job.
It's so dark, his hair. It's so black, and he's so white. It just looks disturbing. I don't know. Maybe a touch of gray in there, pal. We know your age. It is definitely not your natural hair. But, anywho, I lost our sheet here, but.
I just want to quickly touch on before we move on to the next point. I want to quickly touch on round out the D-court. Giordano, Brody both played really well. They blocked, I think, 5 and 4 shots respectively. But how about we give some love to Morgan Riley?
Yeah,
who, you know what, I thought he played fantastic tonight. On top of that, blocked 4 shots. On top of that, had 2 assists. On top of that, handed Jan Ruda his lunch money.
Wow.
I don't know if he came back in the game, but it seemed like
they all got 10-minute misconduct.
Yeah, so Ruta though, or did Ruta get a misconduct as well?
I know he got.
He looked like he was. He's bleeding a lot. Morgan Riley. I don't think I've ever seen him fight before, but I liked it. Good for him. He stood his ground, and that was a beautiful scrum. That was a lot of fun to watch.
I heard. Instead of watching the scrum, people at home got to watch chicken avocado sandwich commercials and crypto commercials.
Yeah, the Sportsnet camera crew was on fire tonight. Their cameras that they have close to the ice, they keep cutting to those, but you can't see anything. Like last time I complained, okay, you're putting up, it was the bird's eye view. I'm like, I can't see anything here either. I like the middle ice view where it just pans across. I can see everything there. Stop cutting to these stupid other camera views. I literally cannot see anything. But that, and then on top of that, yeah, it cut to a commercial as there was a line brawl. Yeah. Casually comes back from commercials, and Chris Cuthbert goes, yeah, there was a line brawl on the ice.
Yeah, before we get into that line brawl, because the line brawls usually put some hair on the balls, I just want to let you boys know a little something we have going on here. So, fellas, growing out your playoff beard, let that thing loose up top. But our friends at Manscaped are here to help you avoid the Jumbo Joe downstairs. The global leaders in below-the-waist grooming want to save your hockey pucks from a slap shot in crunch time this playoff season. 4 million men worldwide trust Manscaped to prepare them for the Stanley Cup. Join them and go to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code RINKRAT. That's manscaped.com for 20% off and plus free shipping with the code RINKRAT, RANKRAT.
Yep, and the spring is among us. The crop preserver, the ball deodorant, all must-haves in your washroom cabinet there.
And would definitely recommend bringing chapstick with you if you ever go golfing, because with the wind speed up here in Ontario, at least it's you're getting to dangerous territories with that wind on getting windburned on those lips. Avoid that. Not guaranteed to stop it from happening, but you know what?
Helps it.
Helps keep them moisturized. So
hell yeah, that's RINKRAT at manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping. So we just went through the decor. Let's get into it. We're going to do 15 seconds. Recap your favorite moment from the favorite part of this game in 15 seconds or less. We'll be on the clock. So who wants to go first? All right. Ready? Josh? Let's go.
Well, the biggest question mark going into the playoffs for the Leafs was the goaltending for me. And I thought Jack Campbell had an extremely solid effort. And like I said, it's an effort that he will be able to build on, and it'll be integral to the Leafs' success, his confidence.
Nice. All right. I guess I'll go next. I want to say the penalty kill in this one set the standard for the game. I don't even think the Leafs were playing that well before that 5-minute major. They were awesome. They outchanced Tampa Bay on the penalty kill in the first period. They got a shorthanded goal, and the power kill was as usual.
I like that. I love that.
Ready? Yeah.
One of my favorite things the Leafs did tonight that they did so well is they were really able to stretch the ice against a really long Tampa team. I thought they were really exploiting them at their own blue line, being able to get some solid zone entries and kind of negate what I think their defense do best, is disrupting the cycle. Nice. Fumbled my words there a bit, but I think
fumbled,
I got it
but
all.
that was really good. That
got
was really good.
There.
Fumble recovered by the offense, second down.
I did want to get into. We did have one DM from Maxwell Hunt. I asked, send in your DMs and voice notes with your favorite part about tonight's game, and he said relentless forecheck for sure. The boys have to do this night in, night out against this Bolts team. If they let them play their game for more than a period, they're done in that game for sure. It's very true. I mean, Tampa Bay has a very deadly offensive team, very big defensive team as well. You can't get bullied by them. The one thing that we forgot to do, I'm surprised nobody touched on it. I love the passion from tonight's game. That was my favorite part. The mucking it up after whistles, even when Tampa Bay wasn't mucking it up. Mm-hmm. Like the Leafs getting a glove in the grill there. Pierre Engvall.
Was that Nick Paul on?
No, it was Brandon Hagel wanting to beat the hell out of Brandon Hagel. Just the giraffe had that look in his eyes. Oh my God.
And then, sorry, what I was going to say earlier before we were talking about the commercials, that full line brawl, it just slowly developed. That was all Corey Perry, though. And if I was Jan Ruta, I'd be like, dude, you just got me bloodied in the face, because there was nothing going on there until Perry. And Perry got a 2-minute for unsportsmanlike, and he got a 4-minute for roughing. At least had a 4-minute power play. No offense, Corey Perry, completely ineffective tonight.
Yeah.
Whenever he had the puck on his stick, he was looking to get it off his stick. He had no confidence.
He had the puck on his stick tonight?
He didn't. I remember one.
There was a power play. They're trying to break out.
They were trying to break out, and he was like, I don't want it. And yeah, it's just, I get that's what they want to do, but it was a 5-0 game, and they're like, I don't know, they're trying to fight Simmons. Simmons didn't want to fight. They grabbed anyone on the ice. Maroon starts filling in Riley, which is obviously an unfair matchup. And then for whatever reason after that, as it went to commercial break, Jan Rutta goes to grab Riley, and Riley absolutely caved his face in. I kind of feel bad for him. It was bad. He was bleeding really, really bad.
There was a couple good looks of it.
That's the part of the fourth line grit and toughness that makes no difference to the game. Those guys did nothing in the game. They were ineffective. They didn't change the game at all. Same thing as Clifford. Like, I thought that was a terrible lineup decision by the Leafs. That game could have swung the other way easily on that 5 minute.
Yeah, that's very true when you think about that. Also, like, Wayne Simmons out there, he throws some good hits. I thought he was pretty effective tonight, not scoring wise, but just physicality wise. After the whistles and such, I mean, if Wayne Simmons doesn't land hits, after the whistles, nobody wants to fight him.
No,
yeah, everyone runs away.
It's crazy how, like, he does nothing after the whistles because nobody wants to. They're all scared of him, and then they wait until they're behind a ref or they wait until he's gone, and then they attack someone else. Like, it's rat mentality. It's ugly, and I hate it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was just, I was kind of surprised how pissy they were. As I said earlier, it was like their whole team though.
Yeah, and they're
Tampa Bay piss boys.
Yeah, even Sorelli gave. I don't know.
He was all pissy, speared Nylander.
Yeah,
by the bench,
that was bad. Yeah,
TV.
like I don't know if you guys saw it on the TV because it was.
No, I even checked the bolts. There was one Palat cross-check Brody. They didn't call it. It was on a penalty kill. Mm-hmm. But I missed that as well.
No, they were all pissy all night. Sorelli, like, with a pretty brutal spear to Nylander.
But it was definitely a spear.
I'd find that, but also Stamkos, it seems like everyone.
There was a 50-50 bad hit on Brody from Stamkos.
The whole stadium was getting in the grill right next shift after he missed that power play shot where he had basically an entire open net. He flubbed it. Stadium was chanting his name. He was very rattled. He kind of he blindsided TJ Brody pretty bad, I thought. And TJ Brody was fine, obviously, but it was one of those where maybe if he stayed down a bit, they would have called something or something along the lines of that.
Pulled a Ross Colton.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that hit. I didn't really see that much. Like, there were some differences between that hit and the Clifford hit, but they were pretty similar too, right? Like, difference obviously Clifford's along the boards, that one's on an open ice, but.
That makes a big
guy has his back turned. Neither guy had the puck.
Well, Brody still kind of like Ross Colton didn't even have close to the puck at that point. Clifford maybe a game suspension for that?
Probably something like that. I would imagine.
Which
honestly, maybe it's better. I was going to say maybe even a little longer.
So that it takes him away from Sheldon Keefe to be able to use.
I don't know.
Then we get Spezza back in the lineup.
Yeah,
that would be nice. Yeah.
Which I realized before the game, Spezza has not played in front of a full home crowd as a Leaf in the playoffs.
So
that would have been his first.
Something even interesting to consider, like, because chances are Spezza's going to draw in, right? Or what are the other options? Well, I was just thinking to myself, maybe there are other options other than Spezza drawing in.
Michael Bunting.
Of course, Michael Bunting's going to draw in. Who knows when?
Smoked him 5-0. The Leafs smoked him 5-0. Didn't have their first line winger, Michael Bunting.
Calder soon to be Calder winner. But. I was thinking maybe, what do you guys think about the Leafs potentially rolling 11-7 going into next game? Because I really liked the way that they played with 11 forwards. It was, I thought that, like, the way they managed it was well. They obviously didn't choose to do that. It was kind of
I felt like circumstance. I don't like how jumbled the lines get with it. I think
that's
really
fair.
Do.
Well, if Bunting comes back, who's like you're taking someone else out?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't think that far ahead, but
no, but I think this game, going off again, the coaching and line matching is kind of a mess. Mm-hmm. Like, there was really very limited competitive 5-on-5 action.
I mean, of like the forward lines for the Leafs, like the most a line had together was 5 minutes with the third line, and I feel like
read which line it is actually though.
What do you mean?
Who are the players?
Oh, yeah. Pierre Engvall, David Kampf, William McCabe. Not actually.
That's not actually the third line.
The third line's supposed to be Pierre Engvall, David Kampf, William Nylander, which only had 2 minutes, right? So
which was predicted by many people.
But the top line even of Kerfoot, Matthews, and Marner only played 4 minutes at 5-on-5 too, right? Like neither team really played much at 5-on-5 at all. So you're right to the point of where how teams are gonna line match moving forward. It's kind of a question that's still up in the air. It seems like so.
Agreed. I think that's pretty. I mean, like, what else can you say about the Leafs?
It was any Tampa things you want to touch on?
That's what I was going to get into next. I feel like Tampa Bay, like, that wasn't the final version that we're going to see from them. They've lost first games of the playoffs before, and guess what? It'll happen again. I mean, but I think on the power play we're going to see a different strategy there. I probably will have. Like, John Cooper's an exceptional coach. I mean, he's got the 2 cups to show for it. I think we're gonna see a different look on the power play break in there, because what Tampa Bay was doing tonight was totally ineffective and sucked and led to a lot of chances against. I think we're gonna see a lot more energy from Kucherov, Stamkos, Hedman specifically, because they weren't very good tonight. The Leafs pressured them exceptionally well. Kucherov had the puck a lot and was able to, he slowed the play down like he likes to. He gave himself the option to either shoot or make the pass. He completed a couple passes. It just flubbed over his teammates' sticks. Like, I feel like you're not going to get another Stamkos healing a shot and missing a wide open net. Like,
that was a lucky bounce for the Leafs there, honestly.
Yeah.
That should have been a goal. And, like, but I think you're right in saying that the power play for them definitely wasn't what it looked like last year in the playoffs, or what it looked like at all during the season.
I think next game I'd expect them to use their net front and bumper position a lot more than they did in this game.
Yeah.
It was a lot of like trying to set up the Stamkos one-timer, which works for them, but when you become one-dimensional, it becomes easy to defend, and the Leafs really did a good job reading what they were trying to do.
Something interesting I want to know just on the penalty kill for the Leafs. I noticed that usually how they do it is they kind of blitz. We talked about this a ton of times before. They blitz with one forward, and it's kind of like a cycle between the forwards, blitzing the 3 guys at the top of the umbrella. It seemed like they were a lot more reserved and weren't blitzing as much on the defenseman at the top and the 2 forwards on the left and right side. It seemed like they were playing a lot tighter and not as aggressive on.
I don't think they were blitzing because Tampa Bay loves the touch pass.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard if you're blitzing to also be focused on blocking that passing lane. So I think taking off a little bit of that speed and making sure you're covering your lanes there was probably the best strategy for them.
It worked very well because like the blitz is kind of I think what gets us those good chances, but us being in the middle there, they completely negated how Tampa wanted to play, and that in turn led to us still getting those chances with the burst of speed we have on that penalty kill. But yeah, their power play definitely tons of room for improvement for them.
Major talking point for them.
I also think there was a lot made of the fact they're trying to replicate their third line from last year, right? Which I mean, that line will be talked about for 5-10 years, and that's how you build a supporting cast of players. You have Gaudreau, Coleman, and Gore, and that line was fantastic. They played them in all situations. We talked about it a lot in the playoffs last year. That line played more than almost every other line on their team. Yanni Gourde was consistently their highest played player at 5-on-5. I don't know if their current makeup of that line has the same effect. And I think they realize that because we talked about this before. In their final regular season game, their third line had Cirelli on it. In this game, Cirelli was playing with Point and Hagel on a second line. I wonder if, because of the result of this game, if they switched up and they put Cirelli back on that third line. Because I really think that's a more effective shutdown center for them than Colton, Paul, and Killorn, which I don't think is a bad line. But I don't think... And they also use Hagel on that line. So let's use those 3. Those are their 3 new additions, right? Hagel, Colton, and Nick Paul. I think Hagel's a really good player. I don't think he has nearly the amount of bite that a Barclay Goudreau had. I think Nick Paul, we've talked about a lot, fantastic at winning puck battles. We said it a lot of times. That was a great addition for them. I don't think he has the goal-scoring touch of a Blake Coleman.
Yeah, and didn't you were saying, correct me if I'm wrong, after he wins those puck battles, his creativity with the puck isn't great.
Agreed. And then great point. You just took the words out of my mouth. And then Ross Colton, who I think we all like Ross Colton. He was great in the playoffs last year. I think he's a really good player. He's not Yanni Gord, though. So I think that is something that Tampa, I'm thinking of this from a Tampa perspective, they're going to have to overcome that in some way in terms of how they want to deploy their lines. Because I don't think you can send that threesome of players up against the Matthews line. I don't know if they're comfortable doing it. It didn't seem like they were. So that makes me start to think, is it going to be Cirelli, Nick Paul, and Killorn instead, for example? Are they going to, what are they going to do there? So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some line jumbling.
Like your words. But just going off that point there, like the lines going into the game were, like you said, Hagel, Point, Cirelli, Killorn, Paul, Colton. That line of Hagel, Point, Cirelli only played 2 minutes, 22 seconds. On natural stat trick for forward lines, the Killorn, Paul, Colton line isn't even showing up. So they must have played probably less than 2 minutes.
They probably switched that quick.
Yeah, and so the 4 minutes and 49 seconds for Hagel, Paul, Colton, which is what they probably switched to, like you said, and then 3 minutes, 39 seconds for Killorn, Cirelli, Point.
I wouldn't be surprised if even going a step further, they try to reunite Point and Kucherov like last year's playoffs.
Yeah.
And then have Stamkos with maybe Palat and Killorn.
Or Palat and Colton even.
And fill in the blanks there. I agree with you. I think their optimized third line is probably Killorn, Cirelli, Nick Paul. In terms of if you want a pure checking third line, that's the checking third line where I'd be like, okay, these guys are going to come really, really and play an effective defensive style against the Matthews line. But it just seemed like they didn't have that much rhythm tonight. It's very hard from a Tampa perspective to judge their lines, but I didn't think they were effective.
I'm putting this out on Twitter as well right now, but Oilers fans were doing the wave in a tie game 3-3 with 6 minutes left in the third, and LA just scored.
Look who scored.
Karma.
Oh, Mike Smith, no. Bad turnover. And who scored, Deneau?
I think
Philip Deneau.
A tip, Philip Deneau, the Leaf
second of the game.
Killer. Can't even call him a Leaf killer because he killed a couple other teams too.
Yeah, the Vegas killer.
He's just a killer.
He's
just a killer.
He actually killed Winnipeg.
He actually killed. Yeah,
they still haven't recovered.
They still haven't recovered.
I can't believe that guy.
Just like Trey Young in
the Knicks
with the Knicks, right?
But also, man, everyone and their mother and brother and sister and cousin picked the Oilers to win this series. Not good if they go down 1-0.
No, it's Dustin Brown's last go at it too. So, anywho, the Leafs
and Tampa. So, I think we did that was a good little 5-10 minute Tampa perspective. Going forward, what can we expect from Game 2?
From Tampa
or the Leafs, both?
What?
I think it's going to be tough for the Leafs to bring it down from that level that they had if Scotiabank is rocking like it was.
It was on fire tonight.
Like, you guys have a better perspective, but on TV it sounded loud.
I think,
all the beats were saying it was loud. But what was it like?
I think that's one of the biggest push. I think that as to why we got the momentum shift after we took a 5-minute major penalty was because every time that puck cleared the zone, everyone was going nuts. Everyone was going for 5 minutes straight. It was like the fans were almost getting tired on the penalty kill. I can't imagine the guys actually killing the penalties. Like, holy smokes. Well, I thought they did, the fans did a great job.
That was probably the loudest I've ever heard that building.
Yeah.
And we've been luckily to go to a lot of games, and I've been to some playoff games in the past too, but I thought that was the loudest, which is pretty awesome. And it seemed like it made a difference.
Yeah.
It felt like it did. I mean, I don't know. I can't even put it into words. I was so nervous before this game. I was almost sick.
In comparison, last week I went to a Predators game in Nashville, and that is probably top 3 best experiences to watch a game in terms of fan, interaction and how loud they are. And that Leafs game, I know playoff versus non-playoff, but that was basically a playoff game for the Preds in terms of trying to clinch a spot. It was very comparable, and that was surprising because when I was in Nashville, I was like, wow, this is way louder than any Leaf game. But then tonight was, the building came alive, and I really, pat on the back to Leafs Nation. They get bagged on a lot for the ones that go into the stadium. Sid Six Arrows chirping them on breakfast television, not going to their seats early. I mean, people were pretty loud. So,
yeah,
very, very good to see.
Yeah, I'm not even going to get into my opinions of that. It just frustrates
But
me.
the tough part is
let's lower the ticket prices so that the team can make less money and can't spend it on unnecessary things.
Like Dean Chenoweth to fix the
necessary things.
The problem is this isn't soccer Champions League. We don't get aggregate, right? We won 5-0 tonight, but
I know.
it's hard. It's going to be hard to say, okay, that game's done now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even if you could lose a stinker in overtime 2-1, and now we're playing.
It's tough. I'm on Google Maps right now. Like, where's the bus going from? Where's it starting? Where's the starting point? That's what I'm looking at right now. It was an awesome feeling. I mean, you can say, I don't know, you celebrate this however the hell you want to, really. If you want to get completely blackout drunk after this win because of a Game 1 win against Tampa, go ahead and do that. If you don't want to get too high on the highs, don't do that too. I really don't care. I'm not your mom. I can't tell you what to do, right?
But I think, like you said, the overwhelming positive is for those people who said the Leafs have no chance. Tampa, defending Cup champs, they can play with them. Will they play with them for 7 games? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
You know what helps?
What?
Home ice advantage.
Agreed. But winning, hopefully this gives them the confidence to keep going forward. Because this, we did this after 7 games last year against Montreal. There was a lot of good performances against Montreal. Nothing like this game. This was an absolute.
Well, the game 2 I thought would have carried.
It was good, but it wasn't the same. This was a full top to bottom.
And also you didn't lose anyone from this game.
Yeah, exactly.
Knock on wood, But, yeah, any other points you had from this game? Any Braden points you had from this game?
You think Bunting's going to play next game?
I believe game 2 or 3. Do you have anything on that?
I have no info.
I think
no idea.
soon. He was listed as doubtful for game 1, so that kind of gives you an idea that soon we're going to see,
And do you think that means
Michael
Kerfoot
Bunting
down to the 4th line? It's just that simple. That's the move, and that's it?
I don't know, but that is a great point to bring up that Michael Bunting wasn't in this game. There's going to be a shift down, and it just means that the depth is going to get that much faster, in my opinion.
And do you think there's any chance that Nylander goes back with Tavares if there is a trickle-down effect there?
I don't think so. They probably like the way that Kasha and Mikheyev were playing together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's relatively going to stay the same. But someone good is going to be on that 4th line.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Nothing wrong with that, though.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll be curious to see what he does. And to quote our most recent guest, Sheldon Keefe, when he makes decisions, there's a purpose behind them.
Good.
Hell yeah. Shout out Frankie Corrado. But, anywho, do you guys have anything else on this
Just wanted
game?
to sprinkle in Andre Kosh. Played pretty well for his first game back since injury.
Was that
Solid.
2 assists?
Did he get 2 assists? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
one.
that. Wow,
I believe
good
he
for
had
him.
2 because on that Matthews
Yes, he
shitty
did.
goal.
Wow,
Yeah.
good for him. Amazing.
2-point return.
That's awesome. That's awesome to see on that. So
Yeah.
good for him. 3.39 individual expected goals too, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's also funny, like, no, I don't even know if I want to say this. I'm not going to say it.
Why?
I'm not going to say it.
Say
No,
it.
I'm not going to.
Write it down and we'll revisit it.
Yeah, we'll revisit it.
All right. We'll circle back on that one, I guess. Anything else to close out this episode?
Let's keep the momentum going. That's it.
Hell yeah. Cheer loud, cheer proud, and always have the passion that unites us all. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Go Leafs, go.
The Rink Rat Report podcast is brought to you by BetStamp, the ultimate sports betting companion app. Track, follow, and analyze your bets across multiple sportsbooks. And while you're there, check out the world's first verified buy and sell marketplace for sports betting picks. Download the app today. The Rink Rat Report podcast is also brought to you by Season 2 of The Law Garage. Host Marco Shara, a Toronto criminal defense lawyer, interviews various criminal lawyers about the practice of criminal defense, gets them to share their war stories, and helpful tips for up-and-coming lawyers interested in the area of law. Out now on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Step into the garage, listen to the experts, and get a tune-up.